Okay, we're on.
Okay, this week we're beginning the Maamor Shabbos Parsha Noach, Tovshin Mem Ches. This is a Maamor that the Rebbe said in late 1982. Mem Gimel, Tovshin Mem Gimel. Tovshin Mem Gimel, 1982. Shabbos Parsha Noach. So the Rebbe begins, Zay Say Sabris, that it says in this week's portion, Torah portion, Zay Say Sabris, this is the mark of the covenant, Ashtaskashti Nasati Bonan Shkir Gamer, that I have placed my bow, my rainbow, bow in the cloud, V'hoisa Keshes Bonan Gamer, that the rainbow will be a sign that there won't be any more a Mabul. So the Rebbe begins and introduces which Hasidic discourses we have on this verse, on this pasuk. In a Yeshne Maamor Apsukim Meila, we have a Maamor on these psukim. Shanitva Za'erata that was just printed. These are the Maamorim, the Hasidic discourses of the Alter Rebbe and Parshiyas HaTorah, which are not included in Torah Eir or Likutei Torah, but 2 volumes of Parshiyas HaTorah. Ukenira hu l'Rabbi Nazokin, and it seems like it's from the Alter Rebbe.
What does that mean?
In other words, that it is correctly in the Maamorim in the Hasidic discourses of the Alter Rebbe. In other words, although there was no clear assumption, the only thing there was an assumption, but no clear facts. But because the Rebbe says part of this Maamor has been also mentioned in Eira Teira, which are Hasidic discourses from the Tzemach Tzedek, the Alter Rebbe's grandson, and he writes it in the name of the Alter Rebbe. So therefore, this is from the Alter Rebbe. And then the Rebbe says, Ve'efsher, and we can possibly say, Shemezem Mashma, that also the beginning of the Maamor, Ilad Murazoke, that also the beginning of the Maamor is from the Alter Rebbe. B'meila, this is a Maamor that's printed on this verse in Maamorim of the Alter Rebbe and the sequence of the Parshiyas. U'lehoyer, and we can point out that Rebbe says, Shegamim Neymar, if we should say that the Maamor is from the Tzemach Tzedek, it won't contradict why he doesn't write in this, it doesn't contradict why he doesn't write in this drush, Al-Keta Shebe'emtza She'umad Murazokin. Akoponim and the Morzal, that we find many times the Rebbe says that the Tzemach Tzedek brings in his Maamor parts of the Maamor of the Alter Rebbe, parts of the Mittel Rebbe, and he doesn't say that he's quoting, although he cites that he refers to it as Matzasi Kosov. In other words, I found it was written. But upon him, sometimes he doesn't even refer to it or cite the source. But for whatever reason he wanted. Avol Kanal, the Rebbe says, possibly we could, as mentioned earlier, it is possible that the whole thing is from the Alter Rebbe. And why doesn't the Tzemach Tzedek bring the first piece? So the Rebbe says it can be in 2 ways. Either this Maamor was written by the Tzemach Tzedek before this piece was said by the Alter Rebbe, which means the Tzemach Tzedek recorded this Maamor in writing before the Alter Rebbe actually said the Maamor with the beginning. So therefore, he left it like that, although in later years the Alter Rebbe added a paragraph in the beginning.
So whose Maamor is it?
The Alter Rebbe's.
No.
Can't they tell by the handwriting?
It begins it before the Alter Rebbe says it.
No. Tzemach Tzedek does not bring the first paragraph, although the Alter Rebbe said the first paragraph. So the Rebbe says it could very well be that it was written based on a Maamor of the Alter Rebbe from earlier years, and therefore he doesn't mention the first piece, which the Alter Rebbe did not include in that Maamor, the first piece. Later years, the Alter Rebbe said it and added the first piece. An example for that would be, a very broad example is, that sometimes the Rabbeim would discuss a topic in a Maamor, usually discuss a topic, and that's the heart of the Maamor. But there's always a beginning and an end. The beginning and the end is connected with the Parsha. So it could very well be that the Alter Rebbe did not say it on Parsha Noach, so therefore it was on a different occasion, but the Tzemach Tzedek used it for this week's Parsha. Later the Alter Rebbe added a new piece.
So it's not handwritten by the
The Alter Rebbe never wrote his Maimorim.
Never.
Mostly, that now in Teira Eir, you find two Maimorim the Alter Rebbe wrote. Chaisora and Truma. Loshen Admur Nishmas Eidnitz. The Loshen, the quote of the Alter Rebbe.
So who they listened?
Huh?
Different people.
Chayzerim, his sons, or Chayzerim that would review the Maimer and would write it down.
He wrote the Tanya, didn't he?
The Alter Rebbe wrote the Tanya, yeah. Tanya he wrote, but very few Maimorim. Shulchan Aruch also. But 27 volumes of Maimorim, most of them were written by the Mittel Rebbe, Rab Meishe, the sons of the Alter Rebbe, who Chazet, Tzemach Tzedek, Rab Pinchas Reizes. There were many Chassidim also that were Chayzer by the Alter Rebbe.
Also, there's a famous story with the Pirush for the Torah, from the Torah, that he wrote and...
That was when he was a young kid. He was 8 years old. He wrote a Pirush, and then he saw they came with him to Tainas. They have Rashi, Ebenezer, they all came with Tainas. How come he didn't tell, that with learning his Pirush, they won't need their Pirush. So the Alter Rebbe took it and burnt it.
Wow.
That was in the, when he was mamish, a young
8 years old.
Yeah,
Did he look over everything that was written before it was printed?
He learned all the different parts of Torah, but it seems like he made it in such a way that it contained everything, so there's no need to learn the separate commentaries.
The Chosrim who wrote it, did they show it to him?
The Maimorim you're talking about?
Yeah.
The Maimorim, there were many Maimorim that Tzemach Tzedek writes in the Hayom Yom of the 3rd of Shvat, that he looked them over. He was Magia them like 17 years before the Istalkus. Tovkuf Nun Hey. But the Tzemach Tzedek was the one that really edited them and prepared them. So this is one way of saying it. Or the Alter Rebbe Tzemach Tzedek wrote it before the Alter Rebbe added that piece. This bichol shebenim tzas ascholos hamaymer egiel idei Tzemach Tzedek achashekosav hamaymer anal. That this bichol, in which we find also the beginning of the Maimer, the beginning of this discourse, was found by the Alter, came to the Tzemach Tzedek after he already wrote the Maimer. Ubachol from the Rebbe says, in any case, Tovei aleim brocha al sheitziu leir Maimer zeh. Tovei aleim brocha, in other words, they should have a brocha for the ones that published the Maimer. This was upon the Rebbe's instructions to publish the Alter Rebbe's Maimorim. Ki akoponim betachum rabbeinu nisiyenu. It is surely from the Alter Rebbe, from the Rabbeim, V'korev levad, we can possibly say shul Rabbeinu azoken atzmei, that it is. We can possibly say that it's from the Alter Rebbe himself. Okay, so now this was all in brackets, just an overview of where this Maimer comes from. Really, it happens in Maimorim of the Rebbe, but this time the Rebbe Pasha chose to discuss it. So now the Rebbe begins the Maimer. Maybe b'Maimer zeh askushas hamafarshim. He brings in this Maimer the question of the commentaries. ובמיימר כבי קדושת אדמו"ר tzemach tzedek, and in the Maimer the Alter Rebbe betchilosei hetik as kol hamefarshim b'shmo. When the Alter Rebbe tzemach tzedek wrote the Maimer, he mentions all the commentaries by their name. What is the question? Ma u'inyan ha'keshes shenes chadesh achar ha'mabul v'eis bris. What is the union of keshes, a rainbow that was renewed after the Mabul, after the flood, which is a covenant for Hare Yodua Shakeshes Udover TV. Keshes is a natural feature. It is, what is the feature? When does it happen in nature? When the sun shines from one side and across it from the other side, there are clouds. So then you see a reflection of colors of a rainbow. So the Rebbe says it's a natural thing. So what is it that he makes a covenant? The Eibishter makes a covenant with something which is complete union of nature, something natural. So the question is, what is the significance? It's something natural that happens in a natural way.
According to Hasidus, it's not natural.
Okay, so the question is, what does it signify? So this is what the Alter Rebbe... Yeah, but the Peel Mamish, it's not like a Kriyas Yamsuf, split of the sea. It's not like a shvua in general. When a person, the Eibishter gave a shvua, an oath, it is something comes from a higher level. Shvua is that he commits himself, promises. So therefore, it should have been something more than just showing a natural pattern. The Yuvens Ebehegdim will understand it with introduction, Biurinyan, Ha'onan, she'olav nemeres kashti nasati b'onan beruchnis. To understand what is the union of onan, a cloud, and